It's just loading up. Disappear, doesn't matter. Okay, if you go on the larger screen of this, if you look at it, the ball itself is the ball itself is the proton. That little bubble is the electron. And when the balance is changed, then you have the separation. Depends what happens in the glass. Let's say we create a heat outside the glass and the glass breaks up, but it goes in a bigger glass. So the proton becomes the bigger content, and that bubble, now because it's a field dependent, when it goes on in a way, then it becomes itself. If you look at it, I can do it this way, is that this bubble will become the electron, and the rest of the content of this bubble becomes the proton. Because this itself is field dependent, immediately in respect to the others creates its own field. So it creates its own center where the new proton has the same. And then this proton goes through the same process and the same thing. Then this divides and this becomes a mass on the other side. This is even how the universes divide. So this is for the first time we explain this, because it's time the knowledge is mature enough we can break to the next step. If you increase the GaNs material, then a little bit of CO2, you see the size of this bubble increases. So the size of the bubble is dependent on the field hold strength of the glass, of the plasmatic magnetic field quantity of the ganses. And in so many ways, at a minute level, because even inside the proton, there is a GaNs structure material, then it's connected to central gravitational field forces of the universe, the way we have explained before, through the spinal of the plasma field. This disclosure today and yesterday when we made it is, as I said, a major breakthrough. It's the first time we understand even what the proton, how the proton is created, and how the electron created out of what we call the neutron. So in the time to come, this little electron has and creates its own center. This proton creates its own center. And in the time, they divide again. What we see in the atomic nucleus structure, where we call it electron and a proton or a neutron, these are all division of each other. A neutron converts to electron and a proton by division when the pressures inside the nucleus changes. Then we understand the electron, which is created out of the what we call neutron, and a proton, which is all created out of the neutron, they themselves go into the secondary and thirdary divisions, and the structure stays the same. This is why an element can stay for a long time, because on the run of the time, by absorbing energy from the other protons within the environment of the nucleus, there is enough energy gained that the proton again becomes a neutron. Interatomic fusion of the energies. This is the first time we disclose this, because we see this clearly in the nuclear reactors. We never knew. If you ask any nuclear physicist what happens, then you get a division. In most of the time, the energy, the extra electrons, extra neutrons, in going into a division themselves to become new electrons, then the protons, by the energy released from the division of the neutron, create a new neutron, because it absorbs enough energy from the continuous division that the cycle creates its own neutron. Can I share a screen, please? In plasma physics, in nuclear physics, we have never understood this principle. This phenomena is exactly what happens. We always say we have an electron and a proton and a neutron. But in the process of neutron converting to a proton and electron, can you see the screen? Okay, so when you have this neutron which divides into a proton and an electron, then this proton itself now, because of the division of the neutron, receives energies plus the energy from the environment that elevates itself to a neutron. And then now you have a proton where there is another extra neutron. This is how even hydrogen goes from deuterium to tritium in most cases. Because it absorbs energy. It absorbs energy which in so many ways a neutron is added out of the energy balance of the environment where you already had a neutron and a proton running. If you understand this process in space technology, you can create any kind of hydrogen from the same setup. I explained this yesterday with the division of the protons and number of the neutrons. So in so many ways, in the heavy mass elements, the conversion of the proton due to the absorption of the radiation from all the neutrons and electrons, whatever they divide, and the protons, creates new neutrons. There is no other option. So in that process, we continuously produce neutron out of proton and proton out of neutron. And in that process, using and what we extract from the environment, we keep the stability. It's not that you put an electron in there from the beginning of the time, 1 million years ago, it's still the same proton. No, the plasma continues this dynamic state. Is not a solid state. It absorbs energy, and this conversion of the neutron to proton and proton to neutron is continuous and absorbs the energy which comes in. You have to understand the totality. We say on Earth, the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth from gravitational magnetic field of the Sun creates residual fields. On Earth we absorb it, so does the interaction of field of the electrons with the boundaries with other electrons get absorbed energy into the center of the nucleus. Where does it go? Unless adds to these parties inside, which is a proton and electron, neutron. So in any case, we never understood that the proton can go and be elevated to become a neutron, because all it needs is adding energy from outside the way it loses its gains. This is what I explained, the new science of plasma technology we start breaking through, and I said I start teaching from last week. The science, the physics of today is on the total fallacy which never understood, and it's been built on, and we have accepted it. We only accept one way, we never accept the other way, because then we have to find why. Now we understand why. The world of plasma physics opens up the whole new dimension in the world of science. And we have to understand the correct way, not again fall in the dogmas of before, just steadfast to what it is we've been told. For the first time today, at least you can say you've been present when it was announced that a proton can become a neutron, and you can see it very easily with an explanation. As the same as you can understand, a neutron divides itself to proton and electron out of the center mass, center plasmatic field of the same thing. Now for the first time we understand where the proton comes, where the electron comes from neutron. These have been the ambiguity which has been sitting with the old matter physics in plasma